Anti-corruption layer. My name is Vaidera from Kodarasa. Today we're going to look at anti-corruption layer. What is anti-corruption layer? This is one of the ways you can have relationships between your bounded context in a domain-driven design system. What is it? It is a defensive approach in which the downstream team creates a translation layer between the upstream model and its model. You have the upstream team giving you data into the downstream team, and then there's a layer between you to help you only get exactly what you need and nothing more, that helps you not corrupt your model. That's ideally what it is about. The layer provides the clients with the functionality they need in terms of their own model. Because of this layer, as the downstream team, in this case, as the downstream bounded context, I'll only get only what I need in terms of my own model and nothing more than that. It is a layer that will keep your bounded context isolated from any foreign concepts coming from any other system that you're interfacing with, that you're interacting with. Let's look at implementing anti-corruption layer. How are we likely to see anti-corruption layer in our systems, in our organizations? For one, we'll see them as a facade. This is usually an alternative interface for the subsystem. You can also see them appearing as adapters. Both facades and adapters will need a translator. Aside from translators, you will need a mode of communication and transport mechanism between these systems that are now interfacing with each other. Let's look at facades in more detail. These are some things you need to know about facades. For one, as I mentioned before, they're an alternative interface for a subsystem. They are ideally there to simplify access to a client and also make the subsystem easier to use. Every time you're writing facades, remember to write them in accordance to the other system's model. Above all, you need to remember that a facade belongs to the other system's bounded context. It is just friendlier to use than the other system you're trying to interface with. The facade facilitates access to what we need to use from the other system and hides everything else. Because of this, the other model stays the same. We can leave it as is without interfering with it, but also end up not getting anything that we don't want. Next, let's look at adapters. This is a wrapper that allows a client to use a different protocol than the one understood by the implementer of the behavior. This adapter converts messages sent to it to a semantically equivalent message before sending it to the recipient. Let's look at an example here actually. Imagine a case where I have two different schemas. I've had to maybe do some sort of schema evolution in my system. Previously, I was using student full name to represent the name of a student. And now the new model calls for me to have it in 3 different parts where I have first name, middle name, and last name. Some systems still maybe use the old system, and the other ones now will maybe adapt to the new system, which is version 2. What do I do in this case? I'll need to sort of be able to now adapt, like change this event. If it comes together, find a way to split it so that you have the first name, middle name, and last name, and anything comes in the version 2 model, then just goes in through, because you already are expecting such a model to come in. Especially in schema evolution, that's a really good way to use event adapters so that you now are able to still use the same model. You can continue giving me what you are giving me, but in this case, I'll now convert it so that it resembles what my model requires and how I need it in my model. Next, let's look at translators. The actual conversion of conceptual objects or data is going to now happen in this translator layer. And now we've learned 3 different parts of an anti-corruption layer. You can have facades, you can have event adapters, and then they'll have a translator for both. You're also going to need some sort of mechanism for transport, for communication. And that's it on anti-corruption layer. I hope you learned a lot about it, and I hope you're ready to jump on and try it out in your system when it calls for it. Again, we've seen the different types of doing your context mapping. Look at all the options and then pick the one that best applies to your specific case. My name is Vaidera from Kodarasa. Until next time, bye.